Roma. He seemed not to comprehend much of it. He seems that I thought.
Par for the course for Gavin.
Well, I thought Kamala Harris was probably the biggest economic illiterate from California, but I think that's something he's number one in. And I didn't really understand this comparison to T-Rex, that T-Rex is a fulsome fighter, but I would say I would compare Governor Newsom probably to a brontosaurus, just a big lumbering beast with a brain the size of a walnut. I mean, so T-Rex versus brontosaurus, we know who used to win that fight.
I think we've got 65 million years of history on that one.
Carnivore versus herbivore.
It's pretty much how it goes, and certainly they don't like carnivores here in Davos with the food. You're not a huge fan of the food here, I heard, by the way.
You know, I no, and no, I don't know if you remember a couple of years ago, one of the recommendations from the Davos elite was we could all be eating bugs and insects.
Yeah, the insect food.
Yeah, and I tell you, after a couple of days of the food here, I may switch to bugs and insects.
You'll take the insect food,
yeah, or
unless that's what it is.
Or
I'm telling you,
I'm going to bring some Pop-Tarts next time.
Secretary Besson, as always, very honored. Thank you so much for being with us.
Good to see the economy at a rate 3% or faster, we're probably going to see an end to this dearth of jobs creation. We're going to do a lot better in terms of jobs creation, and that might well lead to quarters where we have the economy growing by at least 4%. I want to add that we economists were horribly wrong on the strength of the economy, especially in the second half of 2025. You know, many were looking for growth no faster than 1.5%. You point out 4.3% growth in the third quarter. We want to also consider the fact that real consumer spending at 3.5% was far better than what you would expect given this very sluggish pace of jobs creation. Very low jobless claims. That tells us companies may not be hiring, but they are not firing. They're not resorting to layoffs.
Let me see. Yeah, every one of them is a friend of mine. Let's see, a couple I like, a couple I don't like. No, I like, actually, this group, I like every single one of them. Can you believe it? Usually I have about 2 or 3 that I can't stand. Usually I have 2 or 3 that I don't like. I don't find them up here. I like every one of these people. No, they're great people. They're great leaders.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome. I'm Ace. We're going to do it tonight. We're going to talk about this mysterious board of peace, break it down, what's going on, who's on it, and why. And lots going on today. I mean, there's so many things to talk about. So I'm going to do my best to cover the most important stories and what's going on in our country, in the world, how we're winning, and let you guys know the full deets. We got arrests going on in Minnesota, but also some judges messing around again, keeping Don Lemon safe. Pam Bondi, not so happy. We got Jack Smith hearing today, which was just an eradication, just him getting destroyed. And then we got new economic numbers. So all kinds of exciting stuff going on in Trump world and MAGA land. So I'm going to break it down tonight, do my best to give you guys the breakdown and just, you know, be a little easy on me tonight. Still fighting my cold, but I am getting better. So I'm having a better day, but man, this thing just won't go away. So forgive the voice, forgive me if I have to sneeze, but we're still going to get through it because there's just too much good stuff going on. We got to cover it all. This Davos thing is like the gift that won't stop giving. It's incredible what all has gone on at the World Economic Forum and more panic that I'm going to show to you guys tonight as well. So great stuff. Hope you're excited. Got a great show tonight. So much going on. And before we get started, if you guys don't mind, take 1 second, hit that like, hit that subscribe, that follow if you're on X, repost if you're on X, share with the black pillars in your life because you cannot black pill once you get through this video, I promise you. Alrighty. By the way, do you guys remember, I don't know who all was here last night, but that guy who was freaking out or the economy with me, those aren't the real numbers, bro. What a dummy. The the world sure thinks they're the real numbers by all the investment coming in, but whatever. All this great stuff coming in, all these numbers, and you can't hide it, guys. The economy is turning around, so whatever. We're winning. Love the winning. Gonna keep winning. Okay, let me say hey to the peeps in the chat, and we're gonna get going. Wago Waco, what's up, brother? R. Will, how you doing, man? James Lee, what's going on? US1 Tahoe, Steve Bernard, Just Mike, Eric Brumbaugh, behave. Cindy Lou, Bolts fan, what's going on? Lochtefeld over on Rumble. Donna, Linda Telly, good evening. You are welcome. Thank you so much. Rum Dog, bring them on. Fro Girl, sell the trades. What's going on? Dal Bolyo, what's up, brother? And Vince Felice, all up in the chat. Good to see you guys. Thank you for watching. If you're new, listen, hit that chat up. I do my best to answer any and all questions, cover whatever you guys bring up. And yeah, sometimes even the trolls get a little love. Not love. They get answers, but they don't last too long around these parts. What's up, Ryan? Good to see you, brother. All right, let's start with this tonight real quick because it'll only take a second. But apparently the TikTok deal is finalized. So I know you guys are big TikTokers around here. That was a joke. No, I'm not a fan of TikTok, but you know what? There's a lot of people who voted for Trump who are, and they're going to be stoked about this. They no longer have to worry about it going. So Trump announced just a few minutes ago, I'm so happy to save TikTok. It'll now be owned by a group of great American patriots and investors, biggest in the world. I might have to start streaming over there. If TikTok's now American, I might have to try to figure out a way to stream over there too. Along with other factors responsible for my doing so well with the youth vote 24, I only hope that long in the future I'll be remembered by those who use and love TikTok. Thank you to JD Vance and others who brought this deal to a very dramatic, final, and beautiful conclusion, and President Xi of China for worked with us and ultimately approving the deal. So Xi signed off on that. I mean, that's a pretty big deal, honestly. I mean, this is like one of the main propaganda tools of the CCP. So I'm very fascinated to see what changes with TikTok. But TikTok being owned by Trump approved investors, it's a big deal. I don't know if it's going to be X being taken over big because now we've had this platform for a while. But if TikTok becomes a free speech beacon, place where the youngins might get some news that's good, that we'll see what happens, but that would be absolutely massive, even if it's like 50 to 20% just better than it is now, and they push people in the right direction a little bit more. It could be absolutely huge. So hopefully we see what goes on over there. I might have to try streaming over there along with everywhere else. So because right now I'm on X, Rumble, and YouTube. And I got to say, I don't know what's going on, but YouTube, it's been a while since they've given me a strike or demonetized one of my videos. So maybe, just maybe, the Trump effect is taking place. I'm still shadow banned because my stuff just barely ever breaks out. But it's getting better. It's getting better out there. So good to see it. Jeremy Bodle, what's up? Frank Anastasio in the house. What's up, guys? Okay, let's go on. This is the big thing I wanted to talk about tonight. So I played Trump, this clip of Trump where he says he's like, we're going to talk about the Board of Peace. So Trump finalized this morning. All right, there was a big Board of Peace meeting. He had a bunch of them sitting there. Notably absent were Putin, who apparently has said he's going to join, but he can't leave Russia. He can't enter Europe because they call him a war criminal. And Netanyahu, who is also apparently going to join and can't be there. But I was wondering who all was on there. And you know what's interesting? It was kind of hard to find it. So I had Grok scrape everything he could find. And this is what we have as far as who's on the Board of Peace. So there's these founding members. This is before Trump brought it to the countries. But this mysterious Board of Peace, which we'll get into in a minute about what I think is going on with this and why I think it's a big deal. But It's Rubio, Witkoff, Kushner. Those are Trump's main guys, like for anything foreign policy. These are the guys doing all the negotiations, getting all the deals made, ending all the wars. The big three. Kushner mostly sticks to the Middle East, but Witkoff and Rubio especially are everywhere. So just those three are definitely on. Tony Blair, which is interesting. Blair is, he has been in the past a deep state UK globalist type. So why would Trump invite him? That's very interesting, because as I go through this, you're going to find there's very few you could call deep staters on here. There's very few you could call deep globalist types, Davos types. But he's one of them. And it makes you wonder, like, some of these people do turn. Some of these people are not who we thought they were. Remember Scott Bessent, who is going to go down, I believe, as maybe the greatest Treasury Secretary ever. I mean, the guy is just unbelievable. He used to work for Soros. So sometimes the best person on your team, the best ally, is someone who knows the enemy's camp very well. So I don't know what's going on with Blair. I don't trust Tony Blair, but I do think it's interesting that Trump added him. We got the World Bank president, which the World Bank is not the same as like the International Monetary Fund or Bank of the EU. So ECB. So, but it is in charge of a lot of their money. So that's the other one that I think is interesting. Mark Rowan, private equity exec, CEO of Apollo. Robert Gabriel, who's a Trump advisor, national security figure, and also very mysterious. It's hard to find stuff on him. Now, here's the countries that have accepted, ranging between 20 and 30, but this is the ones we know. So you have the UAE, Hungary with Viktor Orban, who made a big statement about it, Pakistan, Javier Milei in Argentina, Armenia, Azerbaijan, Bahrain, Morocco, Bulgaria, Indonesia, Jordan, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, Qatar, Turkey, Israel, Kosovo, Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, Vietnam, Belarus, Paraguay, and Albania. And then we're hearing reports on Mongolia and Russia. I think Russia's definitely there. Notably absent, and so far turned down, is all the big EU countries, all the big UN countries. Isn't that interesting? Trump is doing this. I mean, I think this is pretty much him assembling the new Avengers. Trump said himself, this might replace the UN. So he started this under the guise of, this will be my board to fix Israel, Gaza. And I think what he's actually doing is rebuilding it's his own version of Davos, so to speak, but it's like the good guys. And it's very interesting who's on here. Not that long ago, you wouldn't have said Pakistan is one of the good guys, but the more and more we learn about India and their ties to City of London and how they've been infiltrating us with all these H-1B visas, all that money they're getting because of that, it's like, oh, has India just been part of this whole globalist thing the whole time? Is Pakistan actually, it's not that we like their culture or all that stuff they do, but are they, when I say good guys, I mean countries just invested in being sovereign, not being part of this whole globalism deal. Like Russia. Russia's the perfect example. Putin, we can all argue about whether he's a good guy or not, whether he's an actual dictator, terrible leader or not. But what we cannot argue about, which I think is demonstrably true through history and facts at this point, with 25, 30 years of Putin being in our lives, is that he's not trying to bring back the Soviet Union. We discussed all about that why last night. He is pro-Russia, and he hates globalism. Hates it. And this is why I believe him and Trump get along so well. So just because they're, quote unquote, the good guys doesn't mean they're the best. Doesn't mean we'd want to live in their country. But it does mean we all have a shared enemy. Argentina, we all love Milei. Hungary, we all love Orban. It's very interesting to me how many Middle Eastern countries are on here. I mean, UAE, we had Jordan, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, Qatar, Turkey. I mean, just a ton of them. And then you have a bunch of the Eastern European, and then some of the smaller Asian countries, at least in influence, like Vietnam. So very interesting stuff. Now, apparently Meloni is talking about joining. She's the one European, like major European leader who has said maybe. You know, Giorgia Meloni, she loves Trump, and she's trying to bring back her own MAGA movement in Italy, but she's also part of the EU, which means she might have to navigate this more carefully. So that's the only notable one. Viktor Orban is part of the EU. He openly defied the EU by coming over here. So it's very interesting. What I do think what Trump's doing is he's building up a board that over time, this is going to become like the people we really do business with, where the UN becomes less and less important. Like NATO is becoming less and less important as Trump is reframing it, reestablishing a new relationship with all these people, and they are going to dwindle in influence. This is big. This is a lot of leaders in the world. When the BRICS nations came together several years ago, it was such a huge deal, right? Everybody's like, oh, they're trying to counter the U.S. and Europe and the Western world. Oh, so scared. Well, the BRICS is basically nothing anymore. They never got jump started. They never got their currency going. It's like it's all falling apart, the whole BRICS nations. But it's also all falling apart, the whole UN nation angle. All that nonsense, the whole WEF Davos crowd, that's all weakening as well. So what Trump's done is just basically destroyed both of these, and he's raising up a new one in the middle of it that nobody expected, and it's a mix. Some of these were BRICS countries. Some of them aren't. Some of them are UN. Some of them EU. I mean, it's fascinating to see how this is going, but what's most important is it's American-led. And not only American-led, but also sovereign, where these nations continue to be sovereign. This is Trump having them all buy in to have a seat at the board, and then they have temporary places at the board. That's very interesting how that's working out. It means you're basically choosing to keep being a part of this, whereas when the UN was created, it was like, oh, we're all just going to do this all the time, no matter what. This is our one world government. This is much different. This is like a board that meets and is discussing like how to help do things in the city, not like a city council, but like a committee, like a nonprofit committee or something. That's what this feels like. It's very different. And there are people, I was scouring online, and there are people that are like, oh, this is the end times now. Watch. This is the one world government. Here it is. Well, these are the same people that said the UN was the one world government that's going to bring about the rule of the Antichrist. And, they jump on every little thing that ever moves, like anything they see, it's always the end of the world. Every single time Israel gets bombed, or Israel goes to war with somebody, it's like, this is it. This is the end times. I know I grew up in that crowd. I've been around it my whole life. I'm 42 years old. I've lived through at least 15 apocalypses. I know how this works. Okay. It's just what they do. And you can always be like, oh, as soon as they start talking about it, it's not going to happen. You just tune them out. You're like, oh, well, yeah, okay, this isn't it. That's how this works. This doesn't have that government feel to it. It doesn't at all. And what's very interesting is Trump is just outwardly inviting the shunned nations that the UN hates. I mean, Russia and Israel are two of the big ones, but the UN even hates some of its own, so like Orban. They hate Orban. They hate Lukashenko. It's like they are no fans of a lot of these Middle Eastern countries. They look down on them. These guys don't get a seat at the table. They're not part of the Security Council, which is like the only group that matters in the UN. They make all the decisions. The rest of the UN is just a bunch of people griping, like, oh, let's talk about climate change. It's a total waste of time. But they do it anyways because you kind of have to, But this is completely different. This is like everybody has a seat at the table. It's very interesting. If you guys remember when last year Trump went to the Middle East, he was treated like a king. They love him down there. They get it. And I'd love to know what's going on behind the scenes in most of those rooms, because there is something, it feels like when Trump goes to the Middle East, they treat him as if he liberated them. I feel like that's very interesting. It would make sense from the perspective of the globalist deep state, the City of London types, if they've been just taking advantage, abusing these countries, using their wars, using their oil and their the drugs and whatever it is, like over and over again to keep these things destabilized because that keeps you powerful. And all of a sudden Trump comes along and they all treat him, the white man from America, far differently than they've ever treated any of these other leaders. And now they're sitting on a board with Trump. This is pretty. I think this is just absolutely fascinating. I really do. I mean, it's moving along faster than I thought. He sat down at Davos in front of the World Economic Forum and flipped up the birds, both fingers, and said, hey, you guys are going to ratify, you're going to watch me ratify this board of peace right here in front of you. It is wild. And it gets even better because at first he kind of invited everybody. And then tonight, Moody's going to like this one. Tonight he announced this. Dear Prime Minister Carney, please let this letter serve to represent that the Board of Peace is withdrawing its invitation to you regarding Canada's joining what will be the most prestigious board of leaders ever assembled at any time. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Dude, he just dusted Carney the night after he called him out in front of everybody. He said Canada can't exist without America. Something is happening between us and Canada. And I'm telling you right now, this is all part of this Monroe Doctrine, because Canada right now is the last area in our hemisphere that's fully owned and operated by the deep state, by the cabal over there. I mean, they are Commonwealth of the UK. They still, have the crown on their money and stuff. They consider themselves under the crown. They basically are Europe here in our home, our neighbors. They're basically bringing Europe here. So it's very interesting to me that Trump is doing this. There's worse leaders than Carney, not many. But Keir Starmer is a disaster in the UK. Macron, disaster for France. These guys are, as bad as it gets, as globalist as it gets, completely controlled puppets. They're terrible. And he hasn't gone there with them yet. This is about Canada. He's locking in on Carney. And I think he's trying to push him out or trying to get him to submit. So we're going to keep watching this. But the fact he just withdrew him and did it in a public way for everybody to see, wild. That's just absolutely wild. We've never seen this before. We've never seen a world leader that matters, especially not in the U.S., ever do this to other world leaders. It is wild. Brett writes that Newsom's worse than Carney. Yeah, but Newsom doesn't have a nation. He's about to be gone. Are you excited about your other governor choices there in California, Brett? you getting ready for that one? Let's keep going. So look at this. This is how Trump, after speaking, is going through, greeting everybody. These leaders, remember I played the clip. He was like, I'm happy to see all of you. For once, I actually like everybody I'm with. These people all look like they like him too. I mean, we just haven't seen this before. This guy noticed it as well. Says, what happened at Davos is wild. Right after Board of Peace signed, President Trump walked down the line, met with world leaders one by one. You could feel the energy in the room. They weren't just greeting him. They looked thrilled, like meeting a superstar. Again, this is just like what happened in Saudi Arabia. These people, like, they're lining up. This is by choice. They have to pay $1 billion to be on here. This is something these countries, these leaders desire. So, just wild. It feels like Trump is liberating the world. Isn't that crazy? It's crazy to say, but I do. I think that's kind of what's happening. And this, I mean, the fact he went there and did this at their World Economic Forum in front of all the EU leaders right after blasting the UN is just the biggest FU I think we could ever have hoped to see in foreign policy. It's wild. Viktor Orban wrote this today. Today in Davos, President of the United States launched a new initiative, Board of Peace. Hungary is among the founding countries because Hungary needs peace in order to continue to grow and develop. War puts at risk everything we've built over the past 15 years. War brings inflation, sanctions, high energy prices, decline of national economies. Hungary doesn't want to move backwards. We want to move forward. Why we support and take part in every international initiative prevents and contains wars, guarantees security, peace of minds of nations and families. This is what we're working on today in Davos and this evening in Brussels. I just find this, again, fascinating. Just call it, I mean, the way he says this, Hungary needs peace in order to continue to grow and develop. You guys know Orban. I haven't talked about him a lot, but Orban is like, he's like a Trump in Hungary. The EU hates him. He's nationalist. He's closed their borders. He's promoting Christianity. By all accounts, everything he's doing in Hungary sounds great. I'm like, bring it here. They're super like strict in the right ways and building things. It's very anti-globalist. Very, it's more conservative than here. He's doing in Hungary what like Bukele's doing in El Salvador. Bukele had a bigger mess to clean up, but the point remains is like this guy's a very strong leader, and him and Trump get along great. And this is elevating him now. These leaders, all these guys on this Board of Peace now have a connection. They've just pushed themselves in. Well, not pushed in. They were invited. They've just accepted a connection with Trump that goes beyond what all these other leaders had in the UN. I don't know if you guys listened. I didn't get to play it, but there was a panel, and I showed the clip where Lutnick said globalism has failed. What I didn't show is the UK rep, I think it was their Minister of Finance, practically begging the US to recognize that they still need the UK, that the UK should still have a special relationship with them. And they know how far it's falling apart. I showed Christine Lagarde last night saying that this is the biggest wake-up call we've had. We're going to have to change things. They're falling apart and they know it. And after all that, Trump does this today. And they are panicking, guys. Look at this. This is the Pfizer CEO. This is over there at the World Economic Forum talking about his fears of people rejecting vaccines. Now, it's first of all, listen to his accent. This guy's not American. Should be Pfizer, but whatever. It's supposed to be an American company, I believe. But that's besides the point. This is one of the ways they've controlled us because, well, I'll get to this, the other part in a second, but listen to this.
It's a different world when you start discussing vaccines. There is almost like a religion there. Mm-hmm. So I'm very concerned, very frustrated with that. But I continue engaging, and we have, as I said, a very strong and respectful, both ways, relationship, and we can chat about that.
So sort of discuss the things that you can get agreements on and park the issues that you kind of fundamentally disagree on. Works for a while, but it's not a sort of sustainable kind of thing for years to come. Something has to change, no?
The Secretary of Health.
Yes.
Something has to change. It's a new world. Can't believe all these people won't have vaccines. They're crazy, right? Today marks our first day now out of the World Health Organization. You guys remember last year when Trump came in, he signed that we were withdrawing from the World Health Organization. And then that it's a year. It's a year you have to wait till they let you out. Well, today was that day. So the United States, the timing is unbelievable. I mean, Trump's at Davos right now as we speak, and yet today marks the end of our connection to the World Health Organization. I just, you can't write this stuff. It's incredible how it's all pulling together. Official testimony, Bill Gates behind the World Health Organization. The WHO also involved in the sex crime scandal, 83 staff sexually exploited girls and women. Gates bought the WHO. Now they recommend its products. This is a testimony against the WHO, which I don't want to play tonight, but the point is like super corrupt. Remember when we almost, I mean, this just as a reminder of how far we fell and how bad things almost got. We almost, after COVID, signed a treaty with Biden, and thank God the Congress stopped him. But Congress almost ratified a treaty that would have given the WHO control over all of our health, especially in times of pandemic. That's how close we got. That would have been, I mean, they could have made all kinds of crazy choices, forced vaccinations. I mean, it might have gotten struck down by the Supreme Court down the road, but damage could have been done in the meantime. So that's how close things got. And now we're free. We're completely free of them. I mean, and they don't get our money. That's the other big part. I believe we were like 80% of their funding or something like that, just like NATO. It's crazy, but we're healing, guys. We're healing. And then finally, Trump, in a gaggle with reporters last night after his Greenland deal, had to say this about Greenland.
There was really a negotiation, but it's infinity. The time limit is infinity, meaning there is no time limit. It's forever. It's, you hear about 99 years, 50 years. It's forever. That was discussed. We can do anything we want. We can do military. We can do anything we want.
You hear that? Anything we want? It's basically ours.
And it's being negotiated, and let's see what happens. I think it'll be good.
Would the U.S. have
no price? There's no price.
Did you hear that? No price. What I tell you guys last night, we got the best deal possible with Greenland. He negotiated where we get to do whatever we want, and Denmark is still going to be responsible for the people there. Perfect.
Would the U.S. have pockets of sovereignty over parts?
We have a lot of great things in the deal, and don't forget they're also good for Europe because when we're good, they're good, and if we're not good, that's not very good for them because we hold it all together. We're holding it all together.
Does that actually give you control of land in Greenland? Does it give U.S. control ownership of land?
Do whatever we want. Yeah. We're all going to work together, and actually NATO is going to be involved with us.
You know when he says we're holding it all together, that's just a nice way of saying that we own all you guys. That you cannot exist without us. First president to say that. I love it.
We're going to be doing in conjunction, parts of it in conjunction with NATO, which is really the way it should be.
But to be clear, will the U.S. own that?
Have any expense because we're not going to have expense. Other than building the Golden Dome, we're going to build the Golden Dome, and we'll have participation in that also. The cost of the Golden Dome, we'll have participation in that also, meaning with the expense of it. And it'll be like no other. I mean, our technology is incredible.
He's going to get Europe to chip in on the Golden Dome as well. By Denmark staying in the mix, by keeping their hold in Greenland, he's going to be like, well, you guys are going to help pay for the Golden Dome too. I mean, unbelievable. It's just, it's so amazing how he's pulling all this stuff off. Listen, one of the things I think is coming out of this too, which is going to be very interesting. It's like most of the countries that are coming into this board of peace and everything, like are traditionally, well, not most of them, but a lot of them were traditionally considered enemies of us, or at least countries we couldn't trust, you know, Pakistan, Saudi Arabia, Qatar. So, and then also Israel. Israel is going to be on a board with all these countries. I mean, that alone is going to make it much harder for there not to be peace in the Middle East. So once Iran is finally dealt with, that entire region gets pretty much stabilized, because Iran's one of the most funding Gazans, you know, Hamas, to stir stuff up. You bring Israel on this board, and now they're with Trump, but they're not just with Trump. It's like they're also with all these Middle Eastern countries, and so they're all going to hold each other in check, which we've already seen, even with the latest protests in Iran, when we saw the reps going up to Russia to make an agreement not to attack each other. So we're living in a completely different world as the EU shrinks in its power and scope, as we break free of that UN nonsense and allow other countries. See, it's not just us breaking free now. By creating the Board of Peace, he has allowed other countries to break free of being stuck in the UN. And now they have a seat at the table with the most powerful country in the world, the only country that matters, who, by the way, is bringing along one of the other countries that matters most, which is Russia. But that's supposed to be everybody's enemy, and yet they're coming on the board. I mean, wild stuff. It really shows you that this whole EU, everything going on in Europe, they were the real enemy all along. They were the one. So what's going to be interesting going forward, how much more peace do we see in the world? How much fewer conflicts do we see? If they are weaker there, and now they're not going to be able to be behind so much. They're not going to have our money to spend on this stuff. They're going to have to worry about their actual countries now that we're not funding them. They're going to have to find ways to grow their economies. They're going to have to find ways to defend themselves, to build NATO together as Trump pulls this more and more out. So all of a sudden, they can't keep doing all this other stuff that's just messing with everybody. He's destroying them by just pulling out the roots. Instead of just chopping down the tree, he's killing the roots off one by one. And so it's just way more genius, because it's a much more longer term solution. It's fascinating stuff we're seeing. Let me get into the chat and answer some questions and comments before moving on, because I definitely have more to cover here, but winding down on the Davos part. By the way, if you're enjoying what you're seeing, guys, and you want to support the show, please hit that like, hit that subscribe. I do appreciate everybody giving me a chance and watching the show tonight. So thank you, guys. And if you really want to support the channel, you can go into the description or to my pinned post on X, click on the Patreon link, get a free month membership. See if you like it, want to hang around, get members podcast lives, access to the Discord group that is 24/7. And you get that for free for a month. And after that, if you like it, you can stick around for just $5 a month. That's all I ask to help support the channel and keep me going. Thank you so much. Okay, let's see here. Forbidden Plan says the Somalis could start some of their quality living centers in Greenland. Well, there's just about the same amount of people in Greenland going using those daycare centers, I bet, as there are in Minneapolis. So there's that. Couples Light says EU shrinks in power and scope. Love that. Absolutely. Why are you guys frozen green Somalians? I really missed out on a whole conversation I could see here. David says Trump's the economic and cultural specialist the country needed. Vance will bring back normalcy. Exactly. I mean, Trump he's breaking down the norms, exposing the corruption, rebuilding the foundation of the economy, and then he's going to hand over this new America, that it's still going to be messy, because it's always messy when you first build, but he's going to be handing it over and saying, okay, I gave you this, now you get to build on top of it. And it's going to be smoother. I have a feeling, Vance, I listened to Vance today. He gave an incredible talk, in Minnesota, just really breaking down the whole mess with the ICE agents there and just handled it so well. But he is such a great communicator, Vance is. He's so much more approachable, so much easier for people who are put off by Trump's abrasiveness. He's going to be so much easier for them to listen to. He's really good at explaining things and making things make sense. So that's a superpower Vance has. It's the perfect superpower to go in after Trump. Because Trump, he has to be this way. I mean, everything Trump's doing is incredible. But for the normie person who just doesn't like things destabilized, who's like, I just want everything settled down. I want us all to get along. And they might even have the right values, but they just don't have that part of them that they hate conflict. Well, those people are put off by Trump, even if they agree with most of what he's doing. Vance is the opposite. Vance is going to be the healer and the person who can not reach across the aisle, but can get the people in the middle who are kind of I don't know, man, about Trump. He was too much. Vance will bring all them in. And I have a feeling we're going to be a much more stable and united America after Trump. But it doesn't change the fact that Trump is the most important part of this, because if you don't get Trump first, you don't get that second part, which is Vance. So it's incredible to see. Moody says Carney won't come to the table. He'll destroy Canada. Blame Trump for that, and then back off Europe when he can't handle the pressure anymore. Did you hear what you just said though, Moody? As I read it, and I think you're absolutely right. But how funny is it that the leader of another sovereign nation could ruin a country and blame another country for it without a war? Does that not tell you right there that Canada doesn't exist without the U.S.? It doesn't thrive without the U.S. It can't stand on its own 2 feet. And I'm not saying you guys couldn't ever stand on your own 2 feet, but you've just designed your country, not you, Moody, you know what I mean. The leaders of Canada have designed their country to just survive off America, to soak up our excesses and set up deals where they get to take advantage of us. And we willingly allowed it for decades. We allowed it, and we'll just call it the European way, because they did it too. It started with UK, then all the others got in on it. Once they formed the UN, they formed the EU, they all got in on it. And of course, Canada, which is basically Europe, did the same thing. Because, I mean, if Canada tomorrow could join the EU, they would. The only thing stopping them is that they're not landlocked with them. They're not, I mean, technically UK is not either, but you know what I mean. They can't go, they're not even in the same hemisphere, so they can't technically be part of the EU. But if Canada could be, it would be, and it basically thinks of itself as that. And of course it acts just the same. Like, to say your country was ruined because another country was mean to you or just didn't do the deals with you is wild. It's a wild thought, but you're absolutely right, because that is how they think, because they cannot survive without us. Trump is 100% right about that. Okay, let's move on. The weasel today, the weasel Jack Smith. Oh, Jackie boy. I cannot stand this man. Couldn't stand listening to him. He was testifying today in front of, I think it was a Judiciary Committee, but they ripped him to shreds. The Republicans did. I'm going to play a couple clips, but this is part of the nation healing, folks. Jack Smith, absolute weasel. He's the one who went after Trump, got the Mar-a-Lago raid together, spied on Republicans, set up all kinds of crazy stuff. The dude is a snake. He thought, along with the Biden administration, they were so arrogant. They thought they were going to take out Trump. They thought they were going to end MAGA. They thought they were going to take over our country, make us communist, give their liberal fantasies, sell us out to the rest of the world, destroy our middle class. They thought they had it. They thought they were going to get the Great Reset, which Trump has already destroyed. They thought they were going to get all of it. They thought we had it. And in their arrogance, this guy was sloppy as hell. And so you're going to want to listen to this because he gets reamed. And this is going to be, it's not going to be truly a public execution, but it's a public execution of this guy's character and standing and of the Justice Department of the Biden administration, which is beautiful and important to get out there. And I'm telling you guys, we're starting to see the ramp up. And you're going to see it when I show you the Minnesota stuff too. The ramp up is starting to happen. They're starting to it's as more and more comes out, as these people are publicly getting exposed, we're going to start getting to the arrests before long. It's not going to be much longer. I really don't think so. So anyways, watch Jim Jordan absolutely dismantle this guy.
We've gathered at $35 million. And what I want to know is how much of that $35 million of taxpayer money did you give to confidential human sources? We know you gave $20,000 to someone. It just got reported last week. How much more money did you pay confidential people we don't know about, with American tax money going after the guy we elected president?
My recollection regards the $20,000, which was not a payment from me. It was me approving a payment by the FBI to a confidential human source who was reviewing video and photographic.
Who's the source?
I do not know the identity of the source.
How many other payments went to this source or other sources?
As I sit here, I do not know the answer to that question. My role as special counsel,
$35 million, and you're giving money to people the country doesn't know who they are, and you're giving their hard-earned money to these folks? The main question I have, too, with this is, why'd you have to do it? You subpoenaed bank records from the RNC, phone records from members of Congress. You got subpoenas for bank records for people sitting right there in the front row. Why did you have to pay people for information when you could subpoena them and get it?
Time has expired.
Time has expired. You can answer the question, though. Country'd like to know why you had to do it.
My recollection and understanding is the payment, the $20,000 that I approved, was for a confidential human source to assist in the review of video and photographic evidence showing people who were attacking the Capitol, attacking police officers, obstructing the proceeding, and seeing if we could prove that some of those people had come directly.
That wasn't my question, but my time has expired. The gentleman.
What a snake. You could just tell by looking at him. What a weak, cowardly man. All that money they flew around. 35 million taxpayer money they gave to confidential human sources. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy? And then we got Brandon Gill is just one of the best. This guy is fire. So I'm going to let him do his thing.
How many days after Kevin McCarthy was sworn in as Speaker did you subpoena his records?
I don't recall, but those two things had nothing to do with one. It was
16 days after becoming the highest-ranking Republican in the House of Representatives.
Is this Jack Smith guy just on SSRIs or something? Because he has no personality. He's like a zombie answering these questions. I think this is either what happens when they just get pressured. They completely, his nuts suck up into his chest and he just shuts down, or these guys are just all on like a copious amounts of SSRIs. That's all I can figure, because it's insane how this guy answers questions.
Representatives, you subpoenaed his toll records. Do you agree that might reasonably be considered a violation of the speech or debate clause?
I do not, and I want to be clear that the toll records...
You were collecting months' worth of phone data on the Republican Speaker of the House, the leader of the opposition, right after he got sworn in as Speaker, all around the time of a major vote. That sounds like a flagrant violation of the speech or debate clause to me, and I think most people agree with me. And Speaker McCarthy had no recourse, did he? Because you issued a non-disclosure order ensuring that neither he nor any of the American people knew about these subpoenas. Is that right?
The toll record, the non-content toll record subpoenas, we did secure non-disclosure orders for those subpoenas.
You did. And let me ask you, Mr. Smith, at the time you secured those non-disclosure orders, was Speaker McCarthy a flight risk?
The non-disclosure order was based on concerns about...
Was Speaker McCarthy a flight risk?
He was not.
He was not. Then why did your non-disclosure order refer to him as a flight risk? It says right here, the court finds reasonable grounds to believe that such disclosure will result in flight from prosecution.
This is damning stuff, man.
Sir, when securing a non-disclosure order,
you gotta lie.
The risks don't have to be associated.
You think that the Speaker of the House is a flight risk?
The question?
No, this is not your time. This is my time. You think the Speaker of the House is a flight risk? You think he's going to hop on a plane and leave the country?
No, what I was trying to explain is with respect to a non-disclosure order, the risks aren't necessarily associated with the subscriber to the phone. They're the risks to the investigation.
I think that you were using, this was clearly in reference to Speaker McCarthy, and you were using clearly false information to secure a non-disclosure order to hide from Speaker McCarthy and from the American people the fact that you were spying on his toll records.
Wild stuff. Wild stuff. This is one of those where I wish I could share like the whole hearing because it's so gross. The stuff that you see, the stuff that has happened under the Biden administration. I mean, it's not just the Biden administration. Obviously, it's the Obama administration. It's the Bush administration. It's the Clinton administration. You go back and back and back. But just recently, they went further. I mean, they did, and they were sloppier. But the stuff is crazy. That's the Speaker of the House. I don't like Kevin McCarthy, by the way. But we're talking about the Speaker of the House. We're talking about the previous president, them showing up at Mar-a-Lago and having shoot. They had permission to shoot to kill if they came into any force in Mar-a-Lago at the ex-president's house. If Trump had had any guards there, or anybody who had like put up any kind of fight, or some person who got scared or spooked, had a gun and fired at them, they would have mowed them down. They were hoping for a fight. This all happened under this guy's watch. This stuff is insane. Absolutely insane. And listen, Moody writes, MSM won't report it. You're mostly right, Moody. But I will say this should give you encouragement that on Google Trends today, the Jack Smith hearing was one of the highest trends on Google. Hundreds of thousands of searches. People knew this was happening and wanted to watch it. So the people, like the MSM doesn't matter anymore. This stuff goes live on YouTube, Rumble, you name it, all the streaming areas, and people watch it now. So this stuff does get out there, and proof of this is that CNN had to talk about it. Listen to what CNN said. This is short, but they are not. They're not going easy on him.
To your question, Brianna, the last congressman we saw brought up the fact that Jack Smith demanded a trial date 5 months out in a case involving 13 million pages of documents. There is no defense lawyer in the country who can constitutionally prepare for trial and defend his client on that short a time frame. And the implication was you were rushing to get this in before the 2024 election. Jack Smith did not defend himself, by the way. He didn't say a word about that, which I found strange. Yeah, it's true, right?
It's true.
Exactly.
I mean,
and he didn't defend himself
case before the election.
Exactly. Right. And Jack Smith has always maintained this veneer that he never thought about the election. Of course he did. Why would you demand such a quick trial date? To your question, Brianna.
They're calling out him for being a political hack. We're pretty crazy being on CNN. But that's how damning this hearing is, that even CNN couldn't defend him. Now, if he went to MSNBC, I'm sure that's a different story. You got, Rachel Maddow over there. She's probably finding all the ways to defend Jack Smith and say how this had to happen. I mean, he was completely constitutionally correct. But CNN, man, I'll give them credit. They actually called it out. So all 5 people watching CNN today, they actually got some real news. So congrats to those 5. I probably have more on my stream here than CNN CNN does on a normal day. But anyways, just wild stuff. So I do recommend, if you guys have the time and not doing anything in your life, you can watch this hearing. There's a lot more. But the stuff he did, I mean, again, just spying on the Speaker of the House, lying. Brett writes, for him to even approach the subject of McCarthy being a flight risk pre-arrest shows malice straight out of the gate. Absolutely. Lying about the Speaker to get these things done, about being a flight risk, the Mar-a-Lago raid on Trump, trying to push the trial up before the election to hurt Trump. I mean, they said 4 million documents to be reviewed, and they wanted them to do it in just a couple months. That's insane. Everything about this was insane. And remember, Merrick Garland, he almost became a Supreme Court justice. Obama had him lined up. I hate Mitch McConnell. He's awful. But you got to admit, the one good thing that guy ever did for his country was not let Obama get that last Supreme Court justice. It would have been Merrick Garland. We would have been stuck with that awful, awful man, the Attorney General under Biden, who allowed all this nonsense to happen. We would have been stuck with him as a Supreme Court justice for a lifelong term. So Mitch McConnell, you did one good thing in your life. Chris Ronquillo asks, what's the worst thing that can happen to Jack Smith based on the findings of this hearing? Well, it can turn into criminal probe. I'm going to bring up something here in a minute that's going to tell you why things have been going slow, and why they could start picking up. There is, for one thing, there's so much corruption. So, people like to think like Trump and the administration can be all powerful. They can't. So it takes time to do all this. But yeah, he could be disbarred. So he could lose all ability to practice law, which I hope that's one of the things that happens sooner than later. But a lot of it depends on the state you passed the bar in. If they're super liberal, I mean, America's a very interesting place. So unless he committed federal crimes, which if they uncover that was a crime, if they uncover that he actually committed crimes, like a lot right now is the investigation, right? So they're bringing up the allegations, they're bringing up the evidence they have, but it doesn't mean everything's tied together. So this is the investigation. We're in that phase. But as soon as they make it a federal crime, then the DOJ can do something about it. If some of this was state level, that's where it gets iffy. Because, Washington, D.C. is a cesspool still of liberals. Good luck getting anything done there. So, but yeah, he could eventually be criminally referred for indictments. So, that's ultimately what we want to see. The Supreme Court already ruled that he was unconstitutionally appointed. So none of this should have happened in the first place. But that's against the people who appointed him, which they're all gone now because of the election. So you can't even, it's hard with executive power, the executive branch, when it does something, then the Supreme Court overturns it and they're no longer doing it. That's usually not a crime. So there's a lot of gray areas in here. It's going to be, they're going to have to catch him on something really intense, like bribery or forgery, fraudulent documents on purpose, stuff like that. So like this McCarthy thing, that could end up being fraud. But they'd have to have some good proof for it. Exactly. Brett says most of the stuff he's done is procedural violations. Yeah. So the one thing I think they might be able to get him on is what this money stuff, $35 million they gave to confidential human sources. So if he was bribing people to say testify against Trump, create false evidence, if they find out any of that, that's criminal. So that's what we want to hope gets done. So Johnny Strayhorn says our corrupt judiciary is a huge problem. It is an absolutely massive problem, and it's being made worse by a lot of stuff getting held up in that Trump's appointees and stuff he's trying to do. But I shouldn't say it's getting made worse. It's slowed down on improving. But thank Jesus, guys, every day that Trump has gotten a lot of judges through, not enough, but a lot. And thank God the Supreme Court is mostly conservative, because a lot of these judges, because they're so corrupt, all they're able to do at this point is slow stuff down. They're not stopping anything because it goes to the Supreme Court and the Supreme Court overturns it, but they do slow stuff down. But we got more on corrupt judges. You want to talk about corrupt judges? Let's talk about Bondi here in Minnesota. So Pam Bondi, who everybody's like, doesn't do anything. Well, she finally is trying to get arrests done. Lochtenfeld says Democrat and corrupt is a synonym. Yeah, exactly. Well, Strayhorn, I'm about to talk about that. So Bondi today tried to get Don Lemon arrested, and she was blocked by a Minnesota magistrate judge. So apparently Bondi's pissed about this, but they're looking at other avenues to do this. But here...
Remember what the civil rights movement was about. The civil rights movement was about...
Just in case you forgot what he did with the church and stuff. We covered it the other night. But listen, Bondi is finally... They arrested...
These very kinds of...
They arrested the guy who took the video and did the TikTok video with the beard. He's arrested. A couple of the other ones arrested. Don Lemon was doing a live stream when he found out those guys got arrested, and he started going on his phone, ignoring his live stream, super nervous. So a judge blocked it, but that's not... They're going to look at every other opportunity to go after Lemon. This is a good sign, because if Bondi's finally willing to go after people with names... That's a good sign for other people. And this is a simple one. We all saw it on TV. It's a simple one. The others aren't so simple. You got to build cases more, especially if you're going after big names. But to me, it says the momentum is starting to pick up. They stepped in, and this is good. So, but here's John Solomon on Bannon. I wanted to play this because listen to what Solomon says about what's going on in the DOJ and what we can start expecting. I think Solomon, by the way, I do think Solomon currently is the absolute best reporter in the world on anything that has to do with our Justice Department. So listen to Solomon here on Bannon.
He did stick in there, as President Trump is wont to do, that the 2020 election was stolen, and he said, hey, in a couple of days, there's going to be some developments you're going to hear about the prosecution of this. You've got a breaking story that gets to the heart of the deep state that's a blockbuster. Can you take us through that?
Yeah. First, what the president's talking about is some documents that are going to be declassified from ODNI and the Justice Department, and some new indictments coming. So, as I said on your show last week, the machinery's finally ramped up. They're finally staffed, and you're going to start to see a significant wave of indictments. Pam Bondi's in Minneapolis. I think you will see some of the funders of these protests indicted soon for bank and tax criminality. So keep an eye on that. I think they're going to use the tax law like they did with Al Capone to go after these funding groups and say they said they were doing X, but they're doing Y, and that violates their tax status. So keep an eye on Pam Bondi in Minneapolis with Kash Patel. There isn't an accident. They landed on the ground there. It wasn't for optics. It was for indictments. And then I think you'll see some stuff on elections. Keep an eye on Tulsi Gabbard. She's been working on some really amazing declassifications that I think will blow all of our minds soon. And I think that's going to be a big moment.
Okay. So Solomon reports things might be getting saucy here soon. Did you hear what he said? A couple interesting things. He said they're finally staffed. It took a freaking year because they got rid of so many and so many quit. But they're finally staffed. That's a big deal. And interestingly enough, they're finally staffed, and now you see the birds leaving the cage. Bondi and Kash now on the ground in Minneapolis. That's awesome. And if he's right, I mean, they're going to go. So remember, the last year, this started last summer, Bessent announced he's tracking all the money. Well, when you track all the money, that's how you build these tax cases. And that's how you can go against all the fraud. Put them behind bars because of that. They got Al Capone that way. Very clever. This administration knows their history. Important. But he also said, you know, we haven't heard a lot from Tulsi lately. Tulsi's been behind the scenes, deep in it. And he just said she's about to drop some bombshells, declassify some stuff, get it out there, and then election movement. So again, guys, I told you, I think the arrests are about to ramp up. What did Trump just do? He went to Davos. He made them bend the knee to him. Remember the Putin quote from a couple of days ago? That they will bow before the master? That's exactly what happened. He made them bow before him, basically. And some are fighting back, or, well, kind of. They're not fighting. They're showing their nerves. They refuse to bow, but they're not fighting back. That's the wrong way to say it. But they're running away with their tails tucked behind their legs. Let me put it that way. Between their legs. They're whooped. Trump went over there, destroyed Davos, pulled the rug out from under them, got Greenland, started this new board of peace, brought in all the people they hate, are now one-on-one access to the president of the United States, basically elevated them above the UN. We all know that Trump thinks the UN's a joke now. The game is no longer being played. They're falling apart over there. And now that that's all done, kicking them out of the Western Hemisphere, Trump is ramping up the pressure on Canada because that's the last deep state cabal country over here. We still got to deal with Mexico, but that's the cartels. And then we got this Minnesota action in the corruption being exposed in Minnesota, the ICE stuff going on in Minnesota. It's allowing the Justice Department to start getting the ball rolling on this stuff. ICE just went into Maine as well. They are going after corruption in Maine, like daycare centers in Maine. And the word is that Maine is getting ready to stage protests and fight it back in the same way. Trump is going to do this one state at a time. Drop them. And he's starting in states that are lower populous. It's like you know, it's the snowball. You knock out the smaller one, you go to another small one, you just get that ball rolling, and you finish with California, Illinois, New York. That's what I think is starting to happen. It's one by one. Clear them out. Knock off these corrupt politicians. We got Tim Walz going bye-bye. This fray, the mayor of Minneapolis put on full blast. I mean, you can see it. Some of it I think is planned by the Trump administration, and some of it I think they are just amazing at weaving with like the deep state. You know, they make a move. They're prepared for every move. That's what it looks like to me. But the one difference this year, 2025, Trump came right off the gate, the executive orders, blasting everything, just Doge. It was 100 miles an hour, tariffs, just everything. And then the second half of the year, it was like, you know, the deep state strikes back. The whole like Epstein stuff, the Candace Owens stuff, which obviously now is just a massive psyop against MAGA because that's completely gone away now. We have the government shutdown. They went after him, and Trump weaved all through it, and it come into this year full offense again. So, and I think this time, like everything's in place. So there's not going to be any more walking. It's going to be running. So great stuff. Please like and subscribe. Thank you, Brett. Appreciate you. D6 says, hadn't heard of Gill. Happy to hear he's Texas congressman. Yeah. Brett says, FACE Act 1994, extremely clear on definitions. Don Lemon violated it. Activist judge will be removed, and he and Don will end up being charged. Oh, that's the other thing. You want to talk about judges? I actually don't have this pulled up, but the Boasberg, who's the one who he did the injunction in the beginning of Trump's this term, it's just been a thorn in the Trump administration's side. Anna Paulina Luna came out and said that Boasberg is actually the one holding up the Epstein files right now. Let me pull up this story real quick, and because I think this is important since we were talking about do you spell his name? It's a weird name. Epstein. Let me see. Luna. Yes, here it is. Okay. So she came out and said, everyone's frustrated because they want to see the Epstein files. I do too. Here are the facts. As of today, the DOJ has completed a review of over 5 million documents conducted by over 500 attorneys, and they're ready to be released now. It's Engelmeyer. I got it wrong. Obama appointed Judge Paul Engelmeyer ordered a second review of those documents and requiring cert of those documents by U.S. Attorney Jay Clayton, while simultaneously blocking the appointment of special counsel, causing major delays. So that's what's going on. The Democrats don't want it released, guys. They do not want it released. And yet we have communist retards out there like freaking Thomas Massie acting as if this is Trump's fault. Thomas Massie is becoming one of the worst people in the world. He's a disgusting human being. And it is becoming clearer and clearer. Because if this is true, and I have no reason to doubt Luna on this, if Engelmeyer is actually the one holding up the Epstein files and Massie is blaming Trump for that, partnering with Ro Khanna, that total commie from California trying to get the wealth tax passed over there, it's unforgivable. It just puts Massie on blast. And all the idiots like support it. Massie's the only one who cares, the Trump administration still, what's going on with the Epstein files? It's just, I expect it from Democrats, but when libertarians do it and the MAGA light types do it, it's just like, you guys are disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. So crazy stuff. So he's blocking it. And you know what also this is doing? This is twofold here. It's keeping the Epstein files from being released in their entirety, which is protecting Democrats. And the other thing it's doing is it's tying up all this DOJ time to block them and slow them down from working on other cases and indictments of the arrests we want to see. These people are sick. And they're going to get theirs. And they think they can stop what's coming. Nothing can stop what's coming, kids. Sorry, but true. Nothing can stop it. It's happening. And by the way, if I know Trump, and after all these years, I feel like I do, this is the kind of stuff that only pisses off the Trump administration more. And when Trump gets pissed, he gets even. So the last thing I'd want to do is be on the bad side, but they're going to make their fate even worse. Like, I'm telling you. So at some point this year, when all this gets figured out, we're going to get 5 million more Epstein documents, somewhere in that range. I think it's going to be terrible for Democrats. We're going to have the DOJ fully staffed, ready to go, starting to move on all that. ICE is now fully staffed after the One Big Beautiful Bill. We have all that building up. We've just basically owned foreign policy in the best way we ever have. Just took it over, reasserted American sovereignty and dominance. We're doing all that. And then we're getting these economic numbers. Listen, when you put it all together, guys, I do not see how we actually end up losing the midterms. Listen to this clip.
Growth in the third quarter now at almost 4.5%, projected for the fourth, that was the third quarter, the fourth quarter up to 5.3 according to the Atlanta Fed, and they're looking at over 6% in Q1 for growth, with inflation kind of staying where it is.
It's extraordinary. Vice President Vance gave a speech in Toledo today before he went up to Minnesota, and he laid out these numbers. They are extraordinary numbers. The wages are catching up with Biden inflation and are going to pass Biden inflation this year. It's going to be a boom year, and I'm not worried about November until June. By June, the president's got to be focused like a laser. Right now, he's got to be focused on world security. His number one job is to protect the nation. He's doing that very well, and I think he's also bringing peace to the Middle East. Some voters will ignore that. A lot of voters won't.
You look at the numbers. The growth in the third quarter now at almost 4.5%.
The numbers coming in. 4.5% third quarter, and that's with the freaking government shutdown. Are you kidding me? It's unbelievable. And then they're projecting 6% now in the first quarter. Oh, man. Guys, this year, we could see 6 to 8% growth. That hasn't happened since the Reagan boom 40 years ago. Trump is like, it's unbelievable what he's achieving. And Trueflation just had inflation down to 1.2%. You know what that means? We could hit deflation this year. If we hit deflation, GDP's doing this, people are getting more in their paychecks, wages are going up. I mean, the taxes are down. I mean, my God. This is stuff we just never thought we'd see, ever. Or at least not this quickly. It's an economic miracle. We're watching the beginnings of an economic miracle. It's crazy. 6%. That's insane. 4.5% is insane in recent years. So just incredible stuff. We had, I already played that clip at the beginning. And then Trump is out trolling everybody with this. Record numbers all over the place. Should I try for a fourth term? Too funny, man. Too funny. Brett brings up, they won't let S&P go over 7,000 or Dow over 50K. I don't know, man. Are you sure about that? I mean, I do agree there's got to be a market correction at some point, and the sooner the better. And I think silver is flashing that. But my God, like, we're right there. We're knocking on those doors. It's very possible. I wonder if the silver price finally broke 100. It was at 99 last I saw. Yeah, so I think that's the high it got tonight. Silver about to break 100. This is going to hurt people. We got murmurs out of Japan that it's starting to get crazy over there with their, that could unwind all this, which would cause a stock market crash. So crazy stuff, guys. Absolutely crazy stuff happening. But to my opinion, it's like, when I had Sean on the other night, and I loved that he had so much insight on the housing market, and but we agree, like, what's going on Main Street America is very strong and getting stronger. So no matter what they pull in the markets, it's not going to matter. Like, it'll hurt short term, but we will bounce back quickly. Everything, like literally everything in the economy that's primed to cause, like, or to boom, to move forward, to accelerate, none of it is going to be undone by the markets, because what Trump's doing, he's building a real economy. This is not an economy built on just what he's doing. It's not all powered by leverage and government funding anymore. Those days are gone. I mean, 100% of jobs last year went to not just citizens, but also private industry. The government sector shrank last year. During the Biden years, all that hiring was powered by jobs to illegals and government jobs. It was all fake. And now, like, Trump's building something real and lasting. Those tax cuts now are permanent. That's permanent stimulus. The rates are already high. They can be lowered. That will help move things forward. I mean, inflation is low. Why? Because government spending's being pulled back. There's not more money being pumped in, being created. It's all heading in the right direction. It's incredible stuff. So we're gonna see what happens. I mean, but I mean, even if the market fails, say we have a massive crash, say the Dow goes from 49,000 to 25,000, like in half. If that happens, it's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt pension funds, but it's not going to affect Main Street that much anymore. It'll dry up lending for a little bit. It'll cause liquidity issues, but guys, like, mostly it's just going to shake out the bad stuff. That's where we're at. That's what Trump has created for us. That a market crash it's going to just shake it out and then allow us to rebuild a real market. It's incredible. It's incredible what they're doing. So a couple of last things I wanted to show you guys that I actually noticed while I was showing clips, but Lutnick got booed by Al Gore. So I wanted to play this clip of him talking about it with Jesse Waters for you guys. This is just more fun at the Davos. Al Gore's very upset because his whole scam of how he got wealthy pushing this climate crap is finally coming to an end. And so sharing Lutnick's encounter with Al Gore, I couldn't pass this up. It's too fun.
The guy that Gore was getting all worked up about. What happened, Mr. Secretary?
So I wrote an op-ed in the FT, and it basically said that globalists, offshoring all our manufacturing to cheap labor around the world had failed, and that the World Economic Forum was a failure. But I wrote that op-ed, and so at the end of this lefty, basically a very left set of talks where someone said we need a new form of capitalism, which I think is another way to say communism. Mm-hmm. And then they let me speak at the end. And I gave a 3-minute talk. And I just talked about my op-ed. And at the end of my talk, one person out of the 200 yelled out, "Boo!" So I look over and I'm like, who booed? And it's Al Gore. And I look at him, I go, "Really?" And he goes, "Boo." And I'm like, it was the greatest honor of my trip to Davos. I mean, what's better than Al Gore, incapable of discourse, incapable of anything? And you all remember that Al Gore told us that by today in 2025, the whole ice cap would be gone and Greenland would be green.
Now it's red, white, and blue.
So good. So good. I mean, I love it. Lochtefeld says Lutnick's hitting his stride. He absolutely is. I mean, he's been great, and he is getting better. I think he was a little rocky when he came in. I think he had to just learn his new role in government, how government worked, but he's definitely doing well. And him and Bissett, man, what a team. Commerce Secretary and Treasury Secretary, just excellent team. Brett writes that if the market takes a downturn that bad, California is done. Copper and CalPERS have a lot of money in stocks, a risky investment. You talk about the pension funds and stuff. I mean, it's going to be a mess. Don't get me wrong. The blue states will suffer way more than red states. You're 100% right about that, Brett. And that's unfortunately when you've built a system that's unsustainable, people are going to get hurt when that system unwinds. I'm not saying that there's nobody going to be hurt in a major market downturn when it cleanses up. I'm not saying that at all. There will be people who lose money in pensions, retirement, and some of it will be permanent. It will be. But unfortunately, California, it's just like Europe. That's the price the Californians will pay for, not all Californians obviously, but the public sector unions especially. That's the price they'll pay for having thought they were getting the easy gig, I mean, it sucks. And I know a lot of those are good guys and I don't want that for them, but when you hitch your ride but ultimately they'll be okay. This is America. You remake yourself, you rebuild, and in temporary pain can lead to long-term gain and there'll be more opportunity. I think there's going to be more opportunity in the next 5-10 years for increasing your income, increasing your assets, and growing again than there's been in the last 50 years. I do. I think we're about to hit a time where it's going to be possible to grow wealth again at an accelerated rate. I really do. But we got to get through. Whatever's got to happen first, and that we just haven't had that yet. What Trump's doing is amazing, but we still haven't paid the full price of these fake good times yet. It just hasn't happened. It will happen. It has to happen. There's no way around it. Now, I do think it might not be I think there's a possibility it won't be as bad as many people have thought it would have been. Even myself has thought it would have been at some point. I think that's possible. I think what Trump's doing, I think they just continue to surprise us, and they'll probably surprise us again. So I do think it's a possibility. It just won't be as bad, but it doesn't mean there still can't be. It's still not going to be a little bit of a hard time. It just has to happen. They should consult with Pelosi and Ilhan Omar to run California's pension program. They clean up. There's a couple trades. That's right. Alan says you should have at least 10% physical of paper, gold, silver. I think that's great investing advice, Alan. I'm not giving investing advice, but having 10% in gold and silver means no matter what, you're always going to have money in there. It'll always be worth something, even if they tank. And right now, they're definitely not tanking, at least in my opinion, anytime soon. They are going up, up, up. So, but listen, that's not financial advice. I'm just telling you guys that I agree with Alan's sentiment. And then this just came out too. Another Maha win, guys, that they're getting toxic contaminants out of baby formula. I don't know if you guys have ever looked and read what's in baby formula. It's disgusting. It's terrifying that millions of people feed that to their babies instead of breastfeeding. I know some people have to. If you absolutely have to, no judgment. But most people don't. They just do it because they don't want to breastfeed. And it's gross, but they are coming up with healthy alternatives. And so, it's still always better. Mama's milk's still always the best thing, but I know I have 6 kids, all breastfed, all healthy. But I know that's a lot of TMI, but you know what? On some things, you got to tell the truth, even if it's a little uncomfortable. But anyways, so just another big win. Maha is doing a lot behind the scenes. Kennedy is he's awesome, man. And he's doing that with all of the people in, even in the Republican Party, a lot of the senators against him. Which, by the way, Bill Cassidy, who is a total big pharma hack, Trump has got a nominee to go up against him and hopefully weed him out this year in the Senate. So hopefully, I think it's Louisiana. The good people of Louisiana are smart enough to vote in the primary and get Bill Cassidy out of there. Abbott's lab fighting a battle on baby formula for a long time, says Brett. Yeah, I didn't know about that. U.S. buying 18 million ounces for reserves. Really, Alan? On 1,000 an ounce? That's crazy. Since when is lead spelled LED? Yeah, please like and subscribe, guys. I appreciate you for watching. Here's the other thing they announced today. RFK announced every grocer accepts food stamps will be required to double the amount of real food in the facility. So way more opportunities for. They're basically forcing you. If you take food stamps, you got to have healthy options out there. And they're getting soda banned, all that stuff. So, anyways, great stuff. Good stuff. Was this here? Does that mean Bernie Sanders got way too much red dye? I think that's very possible. Brett, always adding to the discussion. Thank you, sir. Alan, you said that's 1,000 ounce on silver. That's crazy, man. Wow. That's 10 times where we're at. Wild times, guys. I don't know what's going to happen as far as timing on all this with the economy, but I can tell you that I think 2026 is going to be a great year for the economy, and the markets are the only if factor. Who knows what's coming? I know BAM is getting more and more, and out of all the people in the markets, BAM is who I trust the most. I think this is what he does. His model is fantastic, and he's just a smart dude, and he's definitely one of us. Hates the cabal, hates the corrupt actors on Wall Street, and what he's seeing is this stuff. His model doesn't change. It keeps saying something's coming. So it's just a matter of time. And now we have what's going crazy with silver. Gold is about to break 5,000 an ounce. We have what's going on in Japan. There are several major indicators that show that they are losing control. So the question is, when does it finally knock out the markets? But see, we're in this weird space right now where the markets are having all this volatility happen because of gold, silver, Japan, you name it. All that stuff that it's like it's causing fractures, but at the exact same time, it's like nonstop good economic news. It just keeps coming. And so it's very bipolar right now. And the markets are like, we'll just keep going up. What point do people freak out? What point does something break? That's what we don't know. But it is still a house of cards. Alan Krantz says, getting a CAT scan next Thursday. Brother, we will pray for you. Anything specific we should know about to pray for? And so anyways, man, hope you get good news. All right. On that note, guys, we will pray. We always pray at the end here because prayer works. It got us where we're at today. It's helping us win. It's keeping Trump safe and probably many others. But wow, we are winning. I mean, this year has been incredible so far. And I think we're literally just gotten started. This year could be way more going on this year than even last year, which is an incredible thing to think. So blood in your ear. Okay, Alan. Well, we'll pray for you, bro. So, all right. If you don't mind, and if you're not in prayer, that's okay. God bless you. Have a great night. Please like and subscribe on your way out. Think about, if you really enjoy the show and my channel, think about supporting it. Go, become a member. Go in the chat. It's $5 a month, but you get your first month free. So test it out. See what you think. Get in the Discord with us. We'd love to have you. It's 24/7. It's a great community. Jump on in there, and if you like it, you can stay for $5 a month after the 1 month free trial is over. So anyways, all right. Heavenly Father, thank you for today, God. Thank you, Jesus, for all that's happening. It is incredible what we're witnessing. The world is changing. It's like that old saying that sometimes like very little happens in a few decades, and sometimes a few decades happen in a few days. It's crazy. So we're watching that right now. Literally decades of movement and change happening in weeks. It's unbelievable. And Lord, I feel like I see your hands all over it. So we thank you for that. We thank you for what you've given us and this opportunity to just see our country come back and the world come back in many ways and maybe get better than ever. And so, Lord, we pray protection over our leaders, over the Trump administration, God, protection, wisdom, and boldness, Lord, to continue. We pray for more justice in our nation, God. Expose more corruption. Make them, I just pray, Lord, consequences come for all those doing evil, Lord, knowingly. And Lord, we just pray that happens, God, so this can all be stopped, and we can get prosperity back, because once the justice comes, prosperity will follow. We thank you for everything, Lord, that's building for this year. I pray for people's pocketbooks, Lord, that they will thrive. Pray for their relationships, they'll thrive. And I pray for health, especially for people like Alan, Lord. I just pray he gets good news in his CAT scan, that it ends up being nothing, just a weird, weird thing happening, and no actual health issues. I ask for that, God. I ask for good news for him in Jesus' name. And for Thomas, who I haven't seen in a while, I just pray he's okay wherever he is with his cancer. And Lord, anybody else in the community who needs healing, I just pray a blessing over them in Jesus' name. Thank you, Lord, for all you do for us. And God, we just pray for a great weekend. Oh, yeah, God, with the storm coming in this weekend, Lord, I pray that the news is wrong. I pray that supernaturally, Lord, the storm just brings snow and the whole ice apocalypse they're predicting, Lord. I just pray that the reports on Sunday and Monday are good reports, that the storm was not what they thought it was going to be, that somehow it got slowed down, somehow it's not as bad, because I want people, Lord, to just not have to deal with losing power, because when it's extended, lives are lost, ice causes wrecks, and I just pray, God, we don't get that. It's they're calling for this to be crazy, and I just pray that that it's much less than what they're predicting. And I ask you to intervene in that in Jesus' name. So bless everybody here. Amen. All right. Love you guys. Have a blessed night. Thank you so much. I might be on this weekend. The storm is coming towards me. So I might be without power Sunday or Monday if their predictions come true. So we'll see what happens, but I will be in touch as much as possible. Definitely taking tomorrow off. And members, I'll have a podcast for you guys soon and a live for you guys as well. All right. God bless y'all. Have